Hello everybody and welcome back to more of the Fruit of Grisaia. We learned the horrifying, tragic past that is Sachi's. She took her obedience so far as to burn down the school when given a seemingly impossible task. She was told to get rid of the midterms. She racked her brain and that's the best she could do, burn the school down, the surefire way to do it. So now we got to figure out how are we going to stop her. How are we going to help her? She needs help, obviously, but are we the ones to do it? Can we do it on our own? Let's just continue on, shall we? Although the fire brigade rushed to the scene and extinguished the flames before the building could suffer much structural damage, the main classrooms were reduced to charred wrecks. As it contained the highest concentration of flammable materials in the building, the faculty room suffered particularly severe damage, and the scheduled midterm examinations had to be postponed indefinitely. Rumors that Sachi had been responsible spread quickly throughout the town, and when interviewed by the police, she immediately confessed to total responsibility for the incident. However, her motivation was unclear, and testimony from her classmates revealed that Sachi had been subjected to chronic bullying. Her confession was deemed unreliable, and suspicion came to rest on her tormentors. In the end, the investigators couldn't find any decisive evidence identifying the responsible party, and the arson case was closed without charges. Nonetheless, Sachi's aunt and uncle were disturbed by her confession and abnormal behavior throughout the incident. They had to receive a comprehensive psychiatric examination from a specialist, leading to a secondary diagnosis: a severe case of obsessive-compulsive disorder, a condition that meant attending a normal school was ill-advised and potentially dangerous. Soon thereafter, it was arranged for Sachi to transfer to Mahama Academy. In other words, witnessing that action had damaged Sachi's mind far more severely than was immediately apparent. Considering what I know of her current mindset, I doubt she even regards setting that fire as a mistake. Today, Sachi remains under the guardianship of her childless uncle and aunt. Her mother's still in the hospital, deep in a persistent coma. That would be a rough summary of how things currently stand. I toss the papers down onto the bench and look up into the sky. In other words, there's a lot more to Sachi than what I've seen so far. Back then, the only thing I knew was that Sachi's parents were busy with work and didn't pay much attention to her anymore. And these documents are business-like summaries pulled from Ichigai's databases. I have the basic facts in sufficient detail to speculate, but it's hardly a comprehensive story. At the moment, Sachi's probably the only person in the world who knows the precise nature of the suffering that reshaped her personality so dramatically. Even so, there's one thing I can say for certain. She suffered an incredibly cruel and abrupt loss at a very young age. These 6 flimsy sheets of paper couldn't possibly have contained everything she went through. How could they? It's one thing I don't question. From the way Sachi spoke those words, I think they were absolutely true. And that meant she saw the people she loved most in the world fatally injured before her eyes. In other reports, her parents are described as a hard-working couple who cared deeply for their daughter. The reputation in the neighborhood was excellent. Even without knowing the details of the relationship with Sachi, it's easy to understand that losing them would have been shocking and painful under any circumstances. What's more, it happened on her birthday of all days. And from the dates, it must have been out the day after I said goodbye. At the time, my friendship with the girl on the playground had become my strongest source of emotional support. If the same had been true for Sachi as well. In a single day, she lost her closest family members and her closest friend. So, in those words she's so fond of, good girl, bad girl. She tried to drag me to the playground with an arbitrary promise. She ran out of her house that day without listening to her parents, and all of a sudden she found herself alone. Her thought process isn't difficult to imagine. I was a selfish bad girl and everyone went away. From now on, I have to be a good girl and do what I'm told. Carried to an extreme, there's no different from turning yourself into an obedient, thoughtless robot. When the teachers tell her to work hard at her studies, she works hard. When some idiot tells her to wear a maid uniform, she never takes it off. Her own will and the intentions behind the orders are irrelevant. Performing them to the letter is the whole point. Doing what she's told is an end in itself. Sachi was an only child at the time. This simplistic obsessive obedience was the sole coping method she could find. The only way she could escape her regret and guilt. No one has the right to blame her for that. Sachi stopped thinking for herself as a self-defense mechanism. Her wounds were so severe that she lost the ability to distinguish between right and wrong. That warped absolute allegiance to her principles culminated in the school arson incident. To take the most extreme possible example, if someone unambiguously ordered Sachi to kill someone right now, she might commit murder without hesitation. The commandment she imposed on herself was a dangerous thing, a brittle wall, as likely to harm as protect. All things considered, might have been lucky that it was only arson. The more people that know about Sachi's abnormality, the greater the risk of someone attempting to exploit it. An event like that was all but inevitable, really. For the same reason, it makes sense that she was transferred to this academy with its small student body and limited contact with the outside world. The question now is whether I can actually do anything with this knowledge. I might be sitting here and analyzing other people's abnormalities, but I'm not a well-adjusted person myself by any stretch of the imagination. It's like the blind leading the blind. Can I, of all people, help someone regain normality? If there's one thing that gives me hope, it's the expression I saw on Sachi's face back then. So warm, so loving. Thinking it over now, I've even more firmly convinced that her smiles have always been artificial, forced things. But just that once, for that small, brief moment, something was clearly different. Something that makes me think I can bring her back from the abyss. It might sound like flimsy grounds for optimism, but at our first meeting, my master took one look at me and declared we could still fix this one. That's why I'm here today. Come to think of it, my master told me something once. Accepting a favor isn't anything to be ashamed of, kid, but not returning it is. There's no need to overthink this. From that perspective, it's really very simple. Back then, Sachi's presence in my life saved me, and today I have a chance to repay the favor. That's enough for now.
変えようとしているのは小峰さんだけじゃないのかもしれないわね。どうしたのよ、サチ？これうなされてるのよね。それにすごい汗。とりあえず起こしちゃった方がいいわね。よくわからないけど、勝手にそんなことしちゃってもいいものなの？夢を見てるくらいなら問題ないって。それにこのまま放っておいた方が体力奪われちゃうから。
Maybe not.
そうね。じゃあ私が。ねえ、サチ、起きなさい。サチ。お母さん。ダメ、呼びかけたくらいじゃ起きてくれない。それなら。どいてチルチル、今度は私がやってみるのよさ。おい、サッチンってば、起きるのよさ。サチ？ミチル様。よかった。目が覚めたんだな、サッチン。それにマキちゃん。 一緒なのよさ。
Queen Frosty.
それにここはああ、三島崎にある病院よ。病院、そうでした。私一度気を失って。
そう、それでお見舞いに来たら小峰さんがうなされていたから起こさせてもらったわ。
すみません、皆さんにご迷惑をおかけしてしまって。さっちゃんが謝ることないって。ねえサチ、あんたさっきの夢。みちる、それ以上はダメ。あ、そっか、ごめんサチ。どうしてみちる様が謝るのでしょうか。本当に何でもないから、あんたも気にしないでよ。はい、わかりました。まあほら、無事にさっちゃんが見つかってこうして話すことができたんだからよかったじゃん。あまねえの言う通りなのよ。さっちんがいなくなってめちゃくちゃ心配したのよさ。
私も探す手間くらいはかけたわね。
Saki's like, even I was worried for a little bit.
すみません、いろいろとご迷惑をおかけしてしまいまして。ほらユミコ、あんたがそんなこと言うからまたサチが謝っちゃうでしょ。
私は本当のことを言ったまでだけど。
Hey now, don't need to be so cold.
だとしてもそれを言わないのが友達ってもんでしょうが。本当にすみません。いいっていいって。だってさっちゃんはユージと約束した場所で待ってただけなんでしょ。はい、約束しましたから。そっか、だったらさっちゃんは何も悪くない。あまねさん、さすがあまねなのよ。心の大きさが胸に負けてないのよさ。
I dare I say even bigger.
それは言えてるかもしれないわね。
榊さんまで。まあ今はゆっくり休んで早く元気になるのがサチの仕事だからね。
You know what's funny, when I was doing Sachi's route, I accidentally got on Machiru's route because Sachi's route has a little extra you have to do that the other routes don't have. So I played some of Machiru's route, at least the start of it, and I gotta say, I'm looking forward to doing her route because she seems like a very interesting character.
はい、わかりました。
Aw, let's get my birthday.
マーキーな、動くと危ないって。だってあまねえのブラッシングが強引すぎるのよさ。
When I entered the dorm for the first time in 3 days, I'm greeted by the familiar sight of Amane grooming Makina in the lobby. Hey Amane, Sachi's scheduled to leave the hospital today, right?
そうだけど。ってユージ？お兄ちゃん？今までどこで何してたのよ？
Well, here and there.
ちょっとなっちゃないわよ。さっちゃんが見つかって安心したかと思ったら、今度はユージがいなくなっちゃったってみんな心配してたんだよ。
Sorry, I had a job come in and then I needed to butter up JB for a while. Couldn't quite find the time to come back, really.
JB さんを説得？
Well, I guess you could say that was part of the job too.
じゃあ仕事なら仕事だって一言言ってくれればよかったのに。そうなのよさ。チルチルなんか頭にラップを巻いてうーなりながら深夜徘徊してたくらいなのよ。
I think that's just a regular schedule maintenance.
でもそれを聞いてきたってことは ユージもさっちゃんの退院に付き合ってくれるってこと？
Actually, I was gonna ask if you'd let me take care of that myself.
ごめん。どうして一人で？
私とサッチンくらいの仲になると退院の瞬間を一緒に分かち合いたくなるのが当然ってもんなのよさ。
Yeah, I do understand that you'd want to be there. This is just me being selfish, but, you know, the thing is, I've got something important to discuss with Sachi, so it'd be more convenient if we could have some privacy.
二人っきりだと？
Yeah, I do. Don't worry, I'm planning to fill you in afterwards.
なるほどね。
Amani rests her hand on her chin and nods thoughtfully.
わかった。ユージがそう言うなら、
バカな、知らぬ間に意見をまとめられていたのよさ。
だってほら、病院に行かなくてもさっちゃんとはすぐに会えるんだしさ。
She'll be back soon enough.
意固地になる必要もないでしょ。
おう。
無言でお尻見るな。私が言ってるのはお尻の病気じゃなくて、そこまでムキになる必要はないってこと。
その物分かりの良さはすでにフランスパンあたりで買収済みか？
パンで釣られるのはあんたくらいでしょうが。てか、ユージがわがまま言うなんて珍しいことじゃん。
I suppose it is.
お？言われてみればそうなのよさ。
Not particularly conscious of that myself, but I guess I'll have to take their word for it.
ってわけで、マキナもそれでいいでしょ。おやつも作ってあげるからさ。
いいのかシェフ。私の舌はわがままだぞ。
はいはい。精一杯腕を振るわせていただきますよ。
Sorry, you two.
いいっていいって。その代わり、荷物とかはちゃんと持ってあげてよね。
Yeah, of course. All of her luggage.
病室でエロいことすんなよ。
Of course.
今、返事までにわずかなラグが見受けられたのよさ。
そりゃあ、あんたの質問に呆れただけだってば。
When I quietly open the door to her hospital room, I find Sachi up and about, neatly folding her blankets next to the bed. I'd bet good money you're one of those people who would make their own bed when staying in a hotel.
なぜそのことを？
Anybody could guess from a look at this little scene. Well, if they weren't distracted by the completely out-of-place maid outfit first.
退院の時は制服だろというご指摘があればすぐに着替えますが。
Well, I don't think it's exactly a formal occasion or anything.
でしたらなるべくと言われていますので、ここはメイド服を着させていただきますね。
Right. There's an awkward moment before I can manage to respond. Now that I know about Sachi's principles, those typical words inspired a twinge of something like pity. Alright, I'll take care of the bedding.
ですが、
You're still recovering. Spare the back talk for another time, alright?
風見さんがそうおっしゃるのでしたら、すみませんが、よろしくお願いします。
Sure. Changing places with Sachi at the side of her bed, I quickly remove the sheets and begin to fold the mattress. As I work, Sachi stares intently at my face. You have something you want to ask me? Go ahead.
では、どうして風見さんがここに？
There's something strange about me coming to pick you up from the hospital?
いえ、そんなことはないのですが、私が入院している間、風見さんは一度もいらっしゃらなかったので。
Oh, you miss me?
というより、風見さんは私のことを怒っているのではないかと思っていました。
And why would you think that?
それは公園で会った風見さんが悲しそうな顔をされていたので。
I see. So that's it.
はい。
As she speaks, Sachi's expression is distinctly downcast. Not a look you see on her face often. Normally Sachi can present an expression of unperturbed, detached calm under virtually any circumstances. Except this one. This must have been bothering her a great deal, and if so... Actually, Sachi, I had something I wanted to discuss with you. It's sort of related to your question just now.
私にお話で
Yeah, it's kind of important actually.
というと、商店街の角にあるタバコ屋さんの奥さんの不倫相手がついに判明したのでしょうか。
What? No. That's important?
何を言っているんですか、風見さん。商店街は夏休み前からその話題で持ちきりですよ。
Yeah, well, I got another hot topic to discuss. And a fact. We seem to have gotten a little bit sidetracked here. Anyway, let's just finish up here first. We can talk after.